we do welcome you to the C&C Auto Show. We have an amazing show today. We're here live on remote at the C&C Auto Show DeLorean Day being held at the Washington Road location of C&C Automotive right here in Augusta, Georgia. And we have over 75 classic cars, including DeLoreans and cars that John Z. DeLorean played a part in manufacturing. We have hamburgers, hot dogs, sodas, music, prizes, and wait for it, we have two very special guests on this show today. And I'll mention that it's brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts and the Gas Car Club. Still wait for it. We have Kat DeLorean here. Kat DeLorean and Jason Seymour are here to talk and answer questions, and they're here at the event. You can ask them a question. As a matter of fact, those at the event can just walk up, and Jim Pate, our co-host, Jim Pate, can hand them a mic, or will hand them a microphone, and they can ask the question directly to Kat DeLorean.
Yeah, and get their minute or two of fame. How about that?
Absolutely. And also, Jason Seymour will be joining us during the second hour. And you can ask him questions also. So you just give us a call, and and cars are starting to pour in. We have GTOs. We have other DeLoreans. We have at least a couple of DeLoreans so far. And so it's just a lot of things going on. Kat, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Well, we really do appreciate you. And Jim Pate, are we ready?
Hit the gas pedal.
Yeah, Jim does some amazing stuff for the C&C Auto Show. But we'll start the show off by asking a few questions and just getting to know Kat a little bit, because I think that that's an important thing. If you're going to be asking her questions, it would be great for you to get to know her just a little bit, just like I have. I had the pleasure of having, we went to a Mexican food restaurant yesterday.
We most certainly did.
Yeah, and we had lunch. It was very good, and I got to know her, and I'm going to tell you now, absolutely amazing stories, just unbelievable. Kat, when I asked you about being here, I called, and I just said, well, I would like to call Kat and just find out if she may be interested in being on the show. You said yes immediately. You must love this.
I do. I love it. I tell people all the time, I didn't show up to sell you a car. I'm here to talk to you. For me, it's all about the fans. It's about hearing the stories, people who love the cars. It's about the cars and talking to all of you and loving cars with you. That's what it's about. And you also had the special hook that it's a father-daughter business. So that to me meant I had to be here.
I could tell that did make a difference, and I think I could sense that something was there when I mentioned things to do with the father-daughter relationship and things in that area. What goes through your mind when you're looking around? You're seeing DeLoreans directly in front of us. You have a DeLorean parked behind us. You have GTOs over here. And I don't know where they parked them at. I know there's a lot of other GTOs up there because I seen them pulling in the lot a few minutes ago. But you're seeing all this. You're seeing the car behind us with your name on it. It's got your DNA there. And you see the picture of your dad over here to the side. Mason Rogers, our producer, had this made up, and I thought it was awesome. But you see all this. What goes through your mind when you see that type of stuff?
It's been surreal for most of my life. I felt somewhat of a disconnect from it because it's a little bit bigger than you can absorb. My father was not only larger than life, his impact on this world was also larger than life. So for a while, it was neat, it was cool, and it's all about the fans. And now that I'm making a car, I have a whole new understanding and appreciation for what he went through and the involvement in it. And now I feel very connected to the vehicles themselves. And I jokingly tell people I feel like each of them is one of my siblings that I have now. So I really do feel very connected to each and every vehicle that shows up and the owners that own them because of there's something special about the cars my dad made.
I believe that, and I've mentioned before that I feel like your father, he was brilliant when it comes to designing cars. He was brilliant in so many ways, but in my opinion, he was an absolute genius when it come to marketing.
Yes.
He knew what people wanted before they knew they wanted it.
Yes, the marketing genius was his true genius. And part of that, though, is he listened to and cared about his customers in a different way than people were at the time. So he pays attention to market trends, yes, but he also talks to the people. What do you like about your car? What do you not like about your car? But more than that, what was truly unique about what he did is he talked to his employees. And I was always told by the people at GM, the executives would show up on the line and you would know they were coming and everybody would behave. And my father didn't want that. So he would show up unannounced and then he would actually talk to the people. And I heard a wonderful story about how he saw somebody on the line trying to fit a liner in the trunk of a GTO and it wasn't fitting correctly. And so he went up to him and said, you know, what's going on here? And he says, well, this is just the way that it's done and we were told to do it this way. And he says, do you think it's the right way to do it? And he says, no. He says, I bet there's somebody here who can fix it and I bet that somebody is you. Here's my card. Call me when you figured it out. And now that employee felt empowered to fix that problem. Wow. And he did. He called my father, and then my father gave him a promotion. And so he also built vehicles that were for you, not for a corporation or something like that. So I think his genius in marketing was he cared, and he cared about people. But also, the DeLorean, it's made out of stainless, beautiful car. He did that because he couldn't afford a paint factory. And the genius that was him is he made you all think it was intentional. So that's his brilliance.
I see these pictures online and in other places of you there with your father and doing different things. And what type of relationship did you have with your dad?
My father was my best friend in the whole world. I spoke to him every single day. When I was a kid, I was only allowed 2 10-minute phone calls a day, and to extend the 10 minutes with my father, we would do math, which had me completely finished with a 9th grade geometry book by the time I was in 4th grade, because we did so much math. And I sat every day in the summers. I sat and played gin rummy with him on the couch to the point of where there was a worn spot in each place where we sat, a big one and a little one from our bottoms sitting there. And he taught me to love learning, to love cars, and that there are no problems that can't be solved, only puzzles that haven't been tried.
Wow. At what age did you realize that your dad wasn't the average dad?
I realized my dad wasn't the average dad right away because of the way that he treated my brother and I. Every question you asked was, I don't know, let's go find out. We went to look it up in either the encyclopedia or went straight to the library. I sat with my dad. I got to know my dad every day. He taught us how to shoot, hunt, fish, and ride motorcycles. And not everybody gets that. So I realized early on that I had a special dad, but not for the reasons you just asked me.
Wow. Kat, this is absolutely amazing stuff. And we have so many more things to talk about. The car! We'll talk about the car. And that's going to be a lot of fun, too, along with a lot of other things. But we do need to pull over for just a little bit, and we will be back on the road very shortly. We are live on remote at the C&C Auto Show DeLorean Day, talking live with Kat DeLorean. Amazing. And if you're here at the event, you can come up, and Jim Pate over here, he will hand you a microphone and you can ask your question. We got some calls. I'm asking the callers to hold on because we will be getting to you. It might be just a little bit longer, but we will get there. So don't hang up, and we'll be back with more of the C&C Auto Show. Hi, I'm Aaron Clements. I remember when I was a teenager, my grandmother would tell me that her car would hardly run and it needed to be blown out. Well, that put a big smile on my face because I knew that I would need to put it on I-20 and push the gas pedal to the floor and hold it there. Then I'd look behind me and see a big dark cloud. That was the carbon being burned out. It would run a lot better when I was done, but an expensive decarbon valve job was not uncommon in those days. Well, cars still build up carbon, but there's an easier, safer, and less expensive way to get the carbon out. It's the BG Induction Service. The BG Induction Service is a service performed by a professional repair facility. It's a chemical injected into the engine through the throttle body, and it chemically cleans the intake manifold system, top of the valves, top of the pistons, and the O2 sensor, restoring that lost performance and fuel mileage. To find more about BG products or to find a BG shop near you, go to bgfindashop.com.
Hi, I'm Meredith. Tile Center has brought exquisite tile and stone, expert advice, innovations in materials, and extraordinary value to the area since 1961. And as we always ask, why Tile Center? At Tile Center, we'll work directly with you to help select just the right products you'll need for your tile or stone installation. Our staff has the expertise to assist homeowners, contractors, architects, and designers with any tile project anywhere in your home or office. Visit any of our showrooms and meet with one of our tile and stone experts today. They know what products fit best for all areas of your project. And you'll get lots of great ideas here. Tile Center, once again, the winner of the Best of Home Award. Come see why for yourself at any of our locations. Augusta, Martinez, Statesboro, Aiken, or online at tilecenter.com. Tile Center, your tile and stone experts.
You look out the window and your sprinkler system is running when it shouldn't be, and it won't stop. So who you going to call? Hey folks, this is Bobby O at the Water Elf, and we get this call a lot, and we know exactly what to do. The Water Elf has been servicing sprinkler systems in the CSRA for almost 20 years. We are trained, licensed, bonded, and insured to make sure you receive the highest quality service possible. You are the reason we have been successful all these years, and we appreciate you. And after we've finished your sprinkler system service, you may want to talk to us about landscape lighting. The Water Elf offers beautiful LED landscape lighting. High-quality lights providing you with nighttime beauty, added security, and energy efficiency. And our light fixtures and transformers carry a lifetime warranty. So give the Water Elf a call. 706-951-6066. 706-951-6066. Or visit us at thewaterelf.com.
Your friends at Kendrick Paint and Body would like to remind you to buckle those seatbelts and to keep your thumbs on the wheel. The evidence is very clear that emailing or text messaging while driving is very dangerous. While driving, things can happen in less than a second that require split-second decisions. If you're emailing or text messaging, your decision time may be gone before you look up. Your friends at Kendrick Paint and Body recommend that if you have to email or text message right away, safely pull over, send the message, and carefully pull back onto the road. You will probably send a better message, but more importantly, you and the drivers around you will be much safer. For more great tips, go to KendrickBodyShop.com. Kendrick Paint and Body is located at 1333 Broad Street in beautiful downtown Augusta, 4180 Wheeler Road in Martinez, 3720 Richland Avenue in Aiken, and their newest location, Washington Road in Evans. Visit the website KendrickBodyShop.com or give them a call, 706-724-4071.
Let's head back to the Car Care Studio with your host, Aaron Clements.
We do welcome you back to the C&C Auto Show, and we are live on remote here at the C&C Auto Show DeLorean Day. It's located on Washington Road in Augusta, Georgia. The radio show will be running 8 to 10. The complete show will be 8 to 2. Kat will be here the whole time. She'll be taking questions, people just being able to walk up, Jim Pate, hand them a microphone, they'll ask their question. People can call in. We'll be taking phone calls in about just very shortly. But we want to get to know Kat a little bit more before we start taking those phone calls. And we're ready to crank this thing back up. Would you both agree?
I think so, yeah.
Put it in drive.
All right, let's do it. This is fantastic. Okay, one of the things that I was thinking about was, you have so many memories, and I know you could share memories all day, but does one or two memories might stand out for you that you've had with your dad?
I like to tell this one story about going to St. Paul, Minnesota with my father, because I think it truly encapsulates the person that he was and the experiences that I had with him. We went to we were in St. Paul, Minnesota, and apparently there is a set of stairs in St. Paul, Minnesota that felt like about 100 that you walk down, and at the bottom of them is the Mississippi River. So my father takes me down these 100 or so stairs, takes one finger, puts it in the Mississippi River, takes it out and says, "All right, I'm done. Let's go." And I said, "What?" He said, "I always wanted to put my hand in the Mississippi River." I did. Let's go. And we just turned right around and walked back up 100 stairs. And I like to tell that story because it perfectly encapsulates the human that he was. He was goofy and silly and sometimes made no sense, but everything for him was about experiencing and living life. So if you want to go put your hand in the Mississippi River and you got to walk down 100 stairs to do it, that's what you're going to do, even though that's the only thing you're going to do at the bottom of those stairs.
And you never know how one little thing like that might stand out for somebody else.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we've done some incredible things. I've had some incredible experiences with my father in my life. I saw Phantom of the Opera so many times as a child, I could tell you every time they changed the script. And I've gone to see some incredible places and met some amazing people. And that's the story that I tell, because really it was such a real moment too.
Why do you think so many people are attracted to your father? I mean, I feel myself, I feel kind of drawn toward him. And as soon as I study, I want to learn more about him and his thoughts and some of the things that he did. It's just amazing to me.
My father was a truly unique person on this planet in that he was this brilliant person who was incredibly charismatic, and he was kind at the capital of business and also very reserved. And why I tell you all these juxtapositions is you don't generally see somebody like him so large. How many automotive engineers can you name, let alone have defined a generation? You couple that with his charisma and you have somebody that you're just drawn to. He's unique. What else is he going to come up with? His thought processes. My goodness, he's so smart. That's fascinating. And then on top of that, there's something about him that's curious, because you've never seen anything like him before. And I think that draws people to him. He's also very real. He was somebody who lived a real life, and people can relate to him. And I think that's what draws people. Plus, he was the badass maverick of GM.
He was.
So there's that.
And I'll say this. I had a friend of mine call me just the other day. He had heard that you would be here. And I don't talk to him real often, maybe every few months, but we were talking a little bit about John DeLorean, and he said, "Aaron, I really believe that he is the reason that we have muscle cars. He is responsible for the muscle cars."
No, he is. Yes. So he's more than just responsible for the muscle cars. He snuck it by GM. Yep. So he took over Pontiac, and Pontiac was the old ladies' car, division. That's what they called it. And he took it to something that was young and exciting. And he did that by saying, "Hey, let's put this engine in this car." And the fun story about the GTO that isn't really well known is that the first one was his car. He didn't build it to sell it. He wanted one to drive himself. And when he lent it to people, they didn't want to give it back. So he thought he had something, and he decided to produce it. But General Motors wouldn't have allowed him to put the larger engine in the smaller car. And so he made it an option package so he didn't have to ask permission. And before the GTO, a car got you from point A to point B. After the GTO, a car defined your personality. He didn't just give us muscle cars. He changed our entire culture with the muscle car.
Yeah. Jim, did you have a question you want to ask?
Well, I'm thinking about what Kat's saying, and I can imagine that about the time these cars were coming out, the international highway system, or the national highway system, was really quite well developed. So now you really had cars that you really enjoyed more than just a point A to point B, and you started to see the America and the USA and your Chevrolet, let's say, those advertisements are coming out. And I think a lot more motoring was going on, and now in cars that folks really enjoyed. And it was interesting. I remember I recognized what Kat is saying about how the struggle to get a new car introduced and pass muster at administration was much steeper climb than simply creating a subclass within an existing body style. And is that really what it was? Was it a Tempest or whatever the model was? He slipped in not a body style change, but a trim level and a performance option within an existing frame, rail, and body structure.
Yes, but it was actually more about getting GM's permission. He knew that the executives wouldn't give him permission, and he didn't want to give him a chance to say no. Grace Hopper, who is a huge hero of mine, she invented programming languages. She's the one who coined the phrase, "It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission," and that's definitely what he did here.
And we're all glad that he did. Hey, we need to pull over again for just a little bit, but we will be back on the road. We are live here at the C&C Auto Show, DeLorean Day on the Washington Road location of C&C Automotive. We will be taking calls when we come back. That's 800-224-9090, 800-224-9090, and ask Kat DeLorean a question. We'll be back after this. And we are live on remote here at the C&C Auto Show DeLorean Day, and we're on Washington Road in Augusta, Georgia, and we have Kat DeLorean here with us.
Hello.
Jim Pate, co-host.
And a beautiful day, long-awaited event.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Beautiful cars, beautiful day, and we are answering questions, and we are ready to take your phone calls. Give us a call. That number is 800-224-9090. Ask a question to Kat DeLorean, and it's just wonderful stories that she has. Also, for those that are listening, they can come up to the front, and Jim Pate will hand them a microphone, and they can ask the question that way. So come on by or call in, and again, that number 800-224-9090. And one of the Kat, getting to know you a little bit better, what occupation have you done besides building a car? What occupations do you work in?
So I actually started off working in a coffee shop, just slinging some brew. And then I went on to become a model. So I spent quite a few years modeling in New York. And I quit modeling when I got pregnant with my son because I didn't want to raise him in that lifestyle. And when I did that, I started as an intern in IT, and I worked my way up through information technology jobs, various different ones, until I achieved my 18-year-old self's dream job of being an ethical hacker. And I was able to achieve the level of senior red team penetration tester at a Fortune 100 financial institution, which is kind of epic in my goals for life. And I retired from 20 years of working at a wonderful place to focus on what I really loved, which is mentoring and teaching people who want to find their path and work in their passion in life. And now I work at I work at Pluralsight, making online content creation and teaching people how to do really cool things in information security.
So ethical hacker is a person who hacks in to find out if it can be hacked.
Yeah, they got
into.
permission to rob the bank.
Yes, we have permission to rob the bank. Yes, and the idea is that we find all the vulnerabilities and issues before a bad guy could. So we close the holes and we test our defenses and things like that. It's a lot of fun.
Are you ready to go to the calls?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, and again, we have no idea, but we're not screening the calls. All we're doing is making sure that the calls are for you, and we will be talking to someone from, I believe, Pennsylvania.
At least their phone is.
Yes, it is. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and how can we help you?
Aaron, this is Terry O'Loughlin.
Yes, Terry. Welcome to the show. We're so glad you called.
Well, thank you, sir. Hey, I appreciate the chat we had the other day. Kat, again, my name is Terry O'Loughlin. I'm a co-owner of a company called Shop Hero. We actually have a piece of software that Aaron is using in a couple of his shops right now to help manage repair orders. So how fun is that? Here's a question, though, for you, Kat. This is a kind of a sideways question. I have a nephew right now who is a senior car designer for Honda in Torrance, California. And he went to the School of Creative Studies up in Detroit and actually worked for GM for a couple of years. I'm interested in whether or not your dad actually ever did any physical drawing himself, or did he just kind of guide some of the car designers?
Oh, he definitely did a lot of drawings himself. He was always doodling and coming up with designs and ideas for everything, not just cars. So I can guarantee that he definitely has a lot of hand-drawn drawings out there.
Oh, I'd be interested, and I know my nephew John would be interested in, do you have in your possession any of his drawings, regardless of what the design was for?
No, the unfortunate reality is that my father's estate was taken from my brother and I, and that included all of the physical possessions. So I unfortunately was not provided with my father's journals or the blueprints or the drawings that we sought. So it's tragic, but I remember them, so I have my memories.
Oh, well, that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. But that was just something that popped into my head as I'm watching the show. Aaron, awesome event. I'll still be on here. I know Josh, my partner's on here watching as well. So good on you guys, and I can't wait to hear more.
Great call and great question. Thank you, Terry.
What's interesting is
Thank you.
Growing up, my father did have blueprints that he had from some of the things that he designed even while he was working at General Motors. And one of the blueprints that he had was a new type of truck that he had designed. And what I found very interesting is this truck utilized a camera system instead of mirrors. And he had designed it sometime in the 70s or 80s, long before we were using cameras to view around the car. So he was one of the first people to actually put a rear view camera in a design.
Wow. Always thinking about something new.
Yes.
What's some of your hobbies that you have? What do you like to do?
Oh, yeah. Jason and I were talking about this one last night. I'm like, how do I pick? I have so many. I love art. I love all things art, and I love nature, and both of those things come from my father. We live on a farm in New Hampshire, and in the back of my yard is a large mountain. So we go hiking every day. I play with my dog, and I even go mining because there's rocks and gems in my backyard. So you can find me at 6 a.m. in the morning with goggles and a pickaxe going out to mine rocks.
And you live in New Hampshire, is that right?
Yes, actually. People tell me you shouldn't tell people where you live, but it's kind of amazing. We purchased a farm because I've always wanted a farm. Like, I grew up in New Jersey, and the one we happened to pick had a sign on the barn that said Glen Antrim. And I said, what does that mean? So I looked it up, and I said, It's describing a place in Ireland. I said, this sounds kind of familiar, I wonder. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, the Irish Times said the first 10 cars rolled off the line in County Antrim.
Oh, wow.
I ended up buying a house in a town named after where my father built his car, and I didn't even know.
That is amazing.
Isn't it?
Jim, any question?
I do have a question about, in the 2 minutes we have before our next stop at the side of the road, if you can, at some point, talk about the transition from being employed by the corporation of General Motors, obviously a career that was not at all in any way small between Pontiac and Chevrolet. Somewhere there was a trigger that says, I'm going to go out and do my own thing. I'm going to make my own car. So I'm curious, what was the thought process behind that? So you got 90 seconds.
There was a couple things, and a lot of it is actually on a clear day. You can see General Motors. But my father had, Aaron and I were just talking about this. Your car is your second largest investment, your first being your house. And my father didn't agree with the fact that you had to continue to pay for the second one for the rest of your life. And he thought that we should build cars that are reliable and durable and have good gas mileage. And they actually considered the customer and the consumer. And he was just frustrated with the bean counters. But more than that, he wanted to actually build a company that did things differently, that gave people a chance, that supported people, that trained people. And so for him, it wasn't just about the car. It was about everything. It was about the employees. It was about the customers. It was about doing things differently and introducing things that he felt were important, like seatbelts and airbags. So him building a new car was a lot about changing everything.
Yeah, a daring move, obviously.
Yes. The catalyst, though, I believe was he pushed the envelope a lot. And I actually believe that he was asked to leave. And because he did so well for General Motors that they let him gracefully retire.
Thank you.
And we are back with you with the C&C Auto Show. We are live on remote at the DeLorean Day. That's at the Washington Road location of C&C Automotive in Augusta, Georgia. We have some beautiful cars here. We have GTOs, we have DeLoreans, at least a couple of DeLoreans, and we have just a lot of other type cars out there. I don't even know all the details on them. I walked over there a while ago, and it's just a sea of absolutely beautiful cars there. And we are taking questions. You can call 800-224-9090 and ask Cat DeLorean a question. And we have Jim Pate standing there with the microphone, ready to give someone the opportunity to talk to Cat. Chip.
Hey, Cat, how are you this morning?
Wonderful. How
Great.
are you?
My question is, I know I am, are you amazed at how the Back to the Future series has exploded? It's become one of the greatest film series in all of cinema, and part of it's due to the car in the movies. I can't remember when the movie came out. I saw it. I thought it was a great little movie, but it has become a whole universe in its own. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm not surprised. It's a pretty good movie. I love the Back to the Future franchise and the fans that go with it. It is the Back to the Future movies. They defined kind of that time and that generation, and they speak to you in just this very special way. And I love that the car it's not just a car in the movie, it's a character. And it truly has embodied the personality of the DeLorean and somewhat defined it. And I find that to be truly special. Here's why. Every single person that I meet that has an attachment to a DeLorean developed it at a formative age because they saw that movie. And that resulted in their entire life being inspired by the car, from some person who started saving money at 10 to buy one and became a finance manager, to Angel Guerra, who designed my car, who's doing what he's doing today. And that movie has allowed my father to inspire generations of people 20 years after he passed on. So I love the Back to the Future movies and what they've done for the car, and I love that they are as big as they are today.
Well, I keep reading there's a startup company somewhere out west that they're trying to bring it back and do an electric version of it. Have you heard about that?
The electric version of the DMC-12 or the electric version of the DeLorean?
Well, it's one of those things you see the ad and it teases it. It's got the gull wing doors. It's very, very shadowy. And, it's kind of like, what's that all about?
Yeah. So that is the Alpha 5. And that is being made by the company, DeLorean Motor Company, Texas. And they're not affiliated at all with the family or the original car. And I think that's about all I'm going to say about that one.
Well, when I saw it just struck me as these guys were super fans and they kind of want to do their own thing, and just so I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Kat, let's unwrap that just a little bit as much as we can. The version, we won't get into the other vehicle. What we will get into is the DNG model JZD, which is an absolutely beautiful DeLorean car. Tell us about it.
The JZD model is a car designed by Angel Guerra from Angel Guerra Designs, and he designed it as a 40th anniversary tribute to my father, who inspired his whole life. The car is stunning. I truly haven't seen something that it's simple and it takes my breath away.
I agree with you.
So and he really wanted to embody the original car. He embraced Giugiaro's original design in his new one. And he came to me, he found me on LinkedIn. At the time, I was building an engineering program in my little town in New Hampshire to bring automotive engineering to our students there in high school. And he wanted me to see the car, and he wanted to share it with the world. And we started building it as I wanted to film it so that we could teach the kids about building the car. So we built it for our engineering program. And as I started to reach out for people who could help us build this car and teach our kids, I started to learn what it really meant to be a DeLorean. And the best story that I can describe is that a gentleman who is the head of an aerospace company contacted me, and he said, "Your father was so kind to me as a teenager. When I pumped his gas, he changed my life. And if there's anything that you need, please just ask." And that's just one from 80 years of him being on this planet and changing people's lives. So I had people who were inspired by him, people who he touched, reaching out to me saying, "Let us help you. Let us help you." And eventually I turned around and I had an entire team of very highly skilled professionals saying, "Let us build your dad's car and then you can fund your education program." Okay. So I call it the supercar built by love. Cheesy or not, that is what it is. So we have the JZD is truly a culmination of the passion people have for my father and for his brand and for who he was and how he changed their lives. And they've come together to help build something that's going to change lives for children, high school kids, people for generations to come.
Yeah. And in my opinion, when I look at it, I see it looks like an evolved DMC-12. It a modern version of the DMC-12. It is just an absolutely beautiful car, inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because it's a DeLorean, but JZD model JZD. I'll say that, and it's just beautiful.
Yes.
Now tell us a little bit about DNG. What does that mean?
DNG stands for DeLorean Next Generation. Huge Star Trek fan. So that's where it comes from. Also, I am the next generation DeLorean. And DeLorean Next Generation actually started off as my own company, working with people and working to inspire the next generation. And it came again to encompass this car, because the car is all about giving the next generation truly exceptional experiences that will make them 50% of teenagers today don't ever want a car. And I want to give them an experience that makes them want to live cars.
Beautiful. Let's grab one more phone call. We got about a minute on a call, but that gives us time. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and how can we help you?
Good morning. I had a question for Aaron, and I had a question for Jason and Kat. Aaron, where are y'all located?
Okay, the DeLorean Day. We're here on the Washington Road location. That's 4014 Washington Road, the C&C Automotive location here. And that, and we'll be running from 8 to 10. Okay. Now your question for Kat.
How about Jason and Kat?
Well, Jason will be here the second hour.
I want to make you.
Kat is here right now.
Okay, Kat, are you a Georgia Bulldog fan? If you're not, we'd like to make you an honorary Georgia Bulldog fan. What an awesome car you and your family have.
I actually do have a Bulldog hat, so I would love to be a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Awesome, and I love the DeLorean car.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Great, and that was wonderful.
Y'all have a blessed day.
You too.
Hey, thank you. Okay, we are. Wow, the time clock's getting on E. We need to. I do want to mention also, this show is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts and the Gas Car Club. Thank you to both of them. They did so many wonderful things. But with the time clock on E, we have to pull over and get a little bit of gas. I'm Aaron Clements here with co-host Jim Pate, and show producer that's working the magic over there is Mason Rogers. We'd like to say thank you so much, Kat DeLorean. And Jason Seymour will be here during the second hour, which will crank up in about 5 minutes. He'll be ready to answer some questions also. And we would all like to say thank you very much to all of you that attending the event and all of you that called in and everyone that's listening. And we'll be back with more shortly with more of the C&C Auto Show. And we do welcome you back to the C&C Auto Show second hour. We will be doing it again. We are at the DeLorean Day here at the C&C Automotive location on Washington Road. It's 4014 Washington Road for those that can stop by. Those listening, you can also watch us on Facebook and YouTube. And we have over 75 classic cars, including DeLoreans, beautiful GTOs, Firebirds, just other DeLoreans are out there. And there's a lot of cars that were actually designed in part by John Z. DeLorean. And we'll be having hamburgers, hot dogs, sodas, prizes, a lot of things going on here. And get this now, we have Kat DeLorean here. Kat, are we ready to do this again?
We are. Let's go.
And we also have Jason Seymour over here. Jason, are we ready?
We are ready to go. Thank you so much for having us. I appreciate it. It's good to be back in the South.
We really appreciate you being here. And Kat was on stage during the first hour, and now Jason will be on stage with us during the second hour. We'll all be ready to answer questions, and you can either, if you're at the event, you can just walk up, and Jim Pate, co-host Jim Pate, will hand you a microphone, and you can ask your questions, or you can call 800-224-9090 and ask your question to Kat DeLorean or Jason Seymour. And Jason has a lot of passion also in so many ways having to do with the automotive industry. And one thing that I thought was, now I couldn't help but ask. I had to. How did you two meet?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and let Kat answer this one because she tells it much better than I do.
We actually met at the company Christmas party, and we were each our friends' designated drivers. And I had introduced my two friends to try and set them up. And so we were sitting at a table and I started talking about my F-250, my truck. And Jason says, "What do you mean your truck? Girls don't drive big trucks. They drive cute cars like Hondas or Toyotas." I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "You don't drive a big truck." And I said, "Let me tell you something about me and cars, mister." Because he didn't know who I was. So I actually pulled out my work badge and I said, "You see my last name? That's my dad." And we spent the next 4 hours talking about cars. And I tell people that he married me because the first night we met, we ended up in the parking lot, hoods up.
Amazing. So you both have a love for cars. And that's one of the things that I couldn't help but wonder also. It's just amazing that you both have so much synergy together. It seems like your goals are so closely aligned in what you do. I'll ask Jason first. Jason, what is your why?
Why into what we're doing, or why do we have such good synergy?
Both. Why do you do the things that you do as far as trying to promote the car, promoting what you do as far as, and you'll be talking about this a little bit, as far as your training program that you are working on? What's one of the things that drives you to do that type stuff?
Well, I think the biggest thing that drives me is my love for my wife. She's my best friend, and we work so well together. This is easy for us as far as being able to work with each other. And to be able to have a partner like that supports you and builds you up is amazing. And we have such an amazing team that's surrounding us to be able to do that. We are truly lucky and blessed. And to be able to be given the gift of the DeLorean name, to be able to spread joy in the world has been really overwhelming at times, because to see the look on people's face and what that provides them is truly amazing. But to answer your question, what drives me, it's the kids. We are here to build a car, but we're not here to build a car to make money. We're here to build a car to support an education program. And I have been a part of youth sports for the past 20 years. And it's one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life. So to be able to start a program like this that focuses on the next generation and being able to train the next generation of passionate automotive people, that's really is a gift that we are lucky to be able to bring to the world.
I had somebody ask me, how do I deal with quiet quitting? And I said, you hire the right people. So our new partner who's helping us, Miles Spence, he said to me the first day we met, he said, before I even said anything to him, which is why I knew he was perfect, he said, the next Picasso is stacking shelves at a grocery store. And that's very true. Today we live in a society where people don't work to live, they live to work. And they don't have an opportunity to do anything else. And so we want to provide opportunities for people to be able to find a career, a pathway into whatever they dream. And we're starting with automotive engineering. We hope to expand out to every dream pathway possible. But the idea is to bring passion back to everything. And then we can have innovation, because it's the passion that drives innovation. The people who can't sleep at night because they're thinking about work because they love it so much. The people who don't work a day in their lives because they get up every morning excited to go to work. That was me when I was a hacker. And I want to bring that to everybody else. The day I stopped loving my job as much as I did, my daughter said, "Mom, you don't love your job anymore. It's devastating." And for her to have seen me love my job that much, that was one of my proud parent moments. Because I want my children to be in a job where when somebody sees they no longer love it the way I did, it's devastating. And I want to create those pathways for people. And that's what drives us.
This was about a week or so ago, I was driving home I was in my little Z3. It's noisy. The top wasn't down, but it's still a little noisy. And I was talking to Jason. We had called. He had been busy during the week. I'd been busy, and we finally connected in the car. And Jason, I could have swore I heard you say something about a transformer. What were you talking about there?
Well, my lawyer has told me that I can't call it that anymore. We're going to build a transformative robot. So one of my, I suppose I should take a step back. Well, I had 3 goals when we started this company that were outside of the normal build a car. One of those things was to build a motorcycle. And we have a designer starting on April 15th to start on the design of our first sport bike. Codenamed the Cat DeLorean 1000. The second thing was to build a new time machine with the JZD. No one has asked me to. I just think it would be cool. So I'd like to build a new time machine.
Okay, you piqued my interest a little bit here, Jason. Wait a minute.
I gotta get back to the transformative robot because that's actually my number one passion. I wanted to go into electrical engineering in college. And the first day I went into class, we were looking at transistors and the color codes, and I couldn't do it because I'm colorblind. Everything looked brown. So I just gave up that first day, but my passion for robots, that didn't go anywhere. So when we started, I want to build a transformative robot because I think it would be cool. And I was thinking about it. If we do that, it'll pay for itself on the first day. Take it to some billionaires' kids' birthday parties, and that'll take care of that. But the main thing that I want to do with that is I want to take it to schools, and I want to get kids passionate about engineering and things that they can do and the possibilities. Maybe take it to some children's hospitals, make some kids smile. But the things that we have an opportunity to do based off the name that we have, it's amazing because the smartest people in the world are coming to us and saying, how can we help you? Because we love John DeLorean.
Wow. Well, we do need to pull over. But when we return, we will be ready to take questions for Cat DeLorean and Jason Seymour. And you can call us at 800-224-9090. That's 800-224-9090. We will be right back. And we're back with you with the C&C Auto Show. I'm Aaron Clements. We're here at the DeLorean Day, and we have co-host Jim Pate over here. He's going to be having the microphone, giving it to people who may want to walk up and ask a question. You can also ask the question by dialing 800-224-9090, and you can ask the question to Cat DeLorean or Jason Seymour. They're here with us, ready to answer questions. Just absolutely amazing stories. And Jim, you may have someone that wants to ask the question.
Yes, this is Taylor. Taylor, take the floor.
How's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Absolutely great to be here. First of all, I am a huge fan of your father and really admire his work. But my question is, what do you think is the biggest contribution to the automotive industry that your father has, accomplished?
Well, I think it's the muscle car. I think inventing the American muscle car is kind of a pretty epic achievement. And for most of my life, that's I love the DeLorean, and I don't want to knock it, but people would say, oh, DeLorean. I'd say, yeah, that's cool. But my dad invented the American muscle car, which is a little bit cooler, in my opinion.
Taylor, when the GTO out there pulled up, Kat was literally jumping off the ground when she was walking over to it. It was amazing.
I bet.
One of the other really, one of the things I think he was most proud of, though, is that he's the reason why seatbelts are mandatory in cars today, because he testified before Congress. So safety was key to everything that he believed in, and that would be the thing that he was probably the most proud of.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the question, Taylor. We're ready to go to the calls.
Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. And welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And what can we help you with?
Am I the one that's live?
Yes, you are on, and we are ready for you to ask the question for Kat or Jason.
All right. So, okay. My question is, if a person wanted to buy a DeLorean, how would they go about doing that, and what would they expect to pay for a really nice one?
The DMC-12? Is that what you're asking about?
Or
yes,
the DNG model JZD.
I believe that the caller is asking about how. So you should. I want to say open your paper and pray. No. So actually, DeLoreans have become quite difficult to come by. And the price has gone up significantly in the past couple of years. I think, I don't know what the last going rate was for them. When I was big in the community, they were around $25,000 for a really good one. And I know that they've gotten all the way up into the six figures lately. So it's become a lot more difficult to find them. But the best way to find one is to be involved in the community and ask around. People will report to you when they find them. They'll share with you. The community is wonderful and very tight-knit. And whenever anybody wants to find a car, I believe reaching out to them is the best way to do it. Otherwise, you can just keep watching eBay and Craigslist and going around checking every barn you can see and hoping to come across one.
And Kat, this gives me a chance to mention my good friend, Philip Hawkins of Philip Hawkins Motor Company, because I had looked all over the country for DeLoreans. And I really wanted it bad. Done made up my mind. I wanted to buy it. And I was looking in California, Texas, different places. I called my friend Philip Hawkins Motor Company, and Philip said, let me check. He found one in South Carolina that I was able to go get. And he did a great job for that. And I guess the reason I say that is ask your friends if they know where one might be available, look through all the papers, but you may end up needing to get a broker to find one. But they are available. I mean, you can find them. It's just you have to do a little bit of looking.
Yes. Yeah. They're out there. They're just not easy to find anymore.
Okay. Great question.
So what about the getting involved in the community part? What about that? How do you?
Okay. No, that's a great question. So they have there's a couple of places that you can actually go to get involved in the community. If you're on social media and you're on Facebook, there's a lot of different DeLorean clubs, like groups, DeLorean groups. So you can just look up DMC-12 or DeLorean, and you'll find DeLorean Fanatics is one, and then they can help you there. There's also DMC Talk, which is a website run by Tamir Arden, and a lot of the community is there as well. So you can find people. You can also go somewhere to like a car show like we have here and just walk up to some of the owners and start talking to them, ask about your local show, and they can help you find it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, great question. Fantastic. We appreciate that. Okay, the number to call is 800-224-9090. If you have a question for Kat DeLorean, Jason Seymour, you give us a call. If you want to come see some beautiful cars, including DeLoreans, including GTOs, Firebirds, you come to the C&C Auto Show DeLorean Day, located 4014 Washington Road, Augusta, Georgia. And we will have the event here till 2:00. Show ends at 10, but we will still we have time for questions. And if you have a question and you want to just walk up to the front, Jim Pate, co-host, will hand you a microphone. And I see my friend Robbie Coleman just walked by. We just have a lot of people here, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of fun. But we do need to pull over for just a little bit, and when we return, we'll still be taking phone calls, and we'll be going to we'll be going to Terry during the next as soon as we return from the break. We'll be right back after these messages. We welcome you back to the C&C Auto Show. We are here live on remote at the at 4014 Washington Road in Augusta, Georgia. We are having the DeLorean Day, and we have Kat DeLorean here with us, and we have Jason Seymour here also. We are answering questions about DeLoreans or anything else that you want to ask Kat or Jason. All you have to do is call, and we have roughly about 65, 70 cars or so out there. Directly in front of us, we have other DeLoreans, we have GTOs, we have Firebirds. I can't see down that way, but I believe there's some more GTOs over that way. So we just have a whole bunch of beautiful cars, and we'll be having hamburgers and hot dogs and all kind of things. We have music. The DJ just stuck his head around the corner, and he's playing beautiful music the whole time and doing a lot of other things. We have some prizes going on. And we one of the things that we're doing is talking to Kat, and we will go to a phone call. Does that sound good, Kat?
Sounds good to me.
Jason,
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to go for it. Let me find out. I'm having a little bit of problem. There we go. We got it now. And welcome to the C&C Auto Show. What can we help with?
Hey, Aaron, Terry O'Loughlin again. I just wanted to call back in. Here's what I'd like to know. So, John DeLorean, and you, Aaron, and Kat and Jason, what are your all-time favorite vehicles?
My all-time favorite vehicle is parked right in front of me right now. The 66 Tri-Power GTO.
Is it?
Yes. It's one of the first cars to show up, and immediately when the gentleman started getting out of the car, I asked him to pop the hood and squealed with delight to find that it was a Tri-Power. So that's actually that in the split window 60.
You took mine.
Corvette.
So yeah, Kat and I we have similar opinions on cars. So the split window is definitely my favorite all-time car.
Yes. So fun tidbit about Jason and I, we each had one goal in life, and that was to own a Z06. So we had the same life goal dream. And the day we bought our car, we own a Z06 now. We went out to dinner. We looked at each other and literally said, "Now what?" Because we hadn't tuned our car.
And Terry, that gives me a chance to mention something. I had the opportunity to go to lunch with Kat and Jason yesterday. Our producer, Mason Rogers, joined us, and Kathy joined us. But I think the biggest thing that I brought back, the thing that was the most out of everything that I gained, was seeing the passion that they both have for not only DeLoreans, but what they're doing as far as training, what they're doing as far as for the other vehicles that John DeLorean was involved in, the GTOs, the Firebirds, and all of the other things, along with the DeLorean. And you can't help it. You're just kind of attracted to that, all of that passion that's stored there. Look, over there.
Wow.
Oh, there's some beautiful cars going through here, Terry. That's what we're talking about at the same time.
Well, Aaron, what about you? Like, what's your favorite all-time vehicle?
Oh, wow. I have had so many wild vehicles. I'm going to say right now, mainly because so many people are interested in it. Out of all the cars I've had MG Midgets, 280Zs. I've had a bunch of motorcycles. Matter of fact, I ride dirt bikes, and I broke my leg last March. So I've had just tons of different cars that I've loved. I've even had Model Ts and such, but right now it's my DeLorean because so many people seem to love it. I mean, we have it parked at work, and sometimes I'll look down in there and we'll be closed, and people standing all in front of the building looking at the car. And I think that it's for the same reason I'm attracted to it, is it's not just the car, it's the story behind the car, and that story includes passion. And I'm not sure why, but I'm just so attracted to passion for whatever it's for. And Kat has that. Jason has that. You just know it immediately after you talk to them. So I would say right now, the DeLorean is my favorite.
You know, it's funny that you say that. Kat and I went on a drive with the Northeast Regional DeLorean Club last October, and we drove the Z06, which is a gorgeous car. And every single stop, the crowds flocked to the DMC 12s. Didn't even look at our car. And they were crowds. There was no people, and there was a crowd of people all of a sudden. Everyone has that same feeling for the DMC 12, and it's amazing. So
it's truly, a lot of the people who own them call them smile machines or joy boxes, because they really do just bring so much joy to people. I do need to amend my answer a little bit. So while overall vehicle model would be the 66 Tri-Power, my all-time favorite car is my 1998 WSX Trans Am. I saw the car in the ad. It said to a bug, it's a 350 horsepower blender. It was the meanest looking car I'd ever seen. And so at the time, there was not the internet that we have today. And I lived in New York City. There was only 2,700 made that year in that option package. They were all shipped to Florida or California. So I couldn't find one. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I need help. So he called an old Pontiac dealer of his, and he was able to locate me my WS6. I drove it home from Ohio into his driveway. He walked around the car. He popped the hood. He gave it the once over. He sat in it, looked up at me and said, I named this car. Did you know that? And this year I learned what he meant by that. When Bill Collins designed the Banshee, General Motors would not let him release it because it would have been competition for the Corvette. Lots of people know that. Not many people know that they also then took the Banshee and made it the 1973 Corvette. And as a consolation prize, allowed my father to rename a Camaro as a Firebird. So I learned that this year. And I was like, that's what it meant. When he looked at me and said, I named this car, he literally meant, that's it. I named this car. But my Babs, my Trans Am, the first car I spent my money on that was a creation of my father's, is my all-time ultimate favorite vehicle.
Yeah, and that Ram Air hood is mean. Is definitely an eye catcher.
Yeah, and Terry, you can see that what I'm seeing is that passion when she's telling these stories. Yeah. It's just kind of amazing to be able to sit here and listen to that.
Oh yeah, and that's the beauty of the automobile in the United States. I mean, the United States has always had a love affair with the automobile. It is an absolute passion, and I do believe that probably because of our national highway system, of course, Route 66 and so forth, that's why, the automobile is, like, in my mind, it's number one. When you think about the United States, I think immediately about cars. So, hey, thanks guys for being on this show. It's been a real pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Great call. Thank you.
Interesting bit of information that I also learned this year. So the automotive industry is a huge part of our GDP, and the largest portion, the most successful that the automotive industry was, happened right before my father actually left. The month before he left General Motors was the peak. And it was right to the quarter. Now, my father was not the only thing that impacted that, obviously, but I found it a fascinating statistic. It was literally the peak, and then it was all downhill from there.
We've talked a little bit about the D&G model JZD. Tell us a little bit about the timeline.
So we are planning a unveiling party in Detroit, September 14th. We'll have a VIP party, and then a public unveiling on the 16th and 17th, which is Saturday and Sunday. As far as a production car, we're looking at our final schedule now, but our hope is to have the JZD in driveways by the third quarter in 2025.
Wow. So someone will be eventually in the future be able to go out and buy a model
Absolutely.
JZD.
And we are working on revamping our website right now. We're putting in a lot of work to make sure that we're providing all of the information that everyone is looking for. Our original website we put up pretty quick, and it doesn't have a whole lot of information, but we're really looking at putting together something that is visually gorgeous, just like the car. So that way, when anyone comes to look for information, they can get everything they need right at the website.
What's the website?
Oh, dngmotors.com. I apologize for that.
dngmotors.com.
Yes, sir.
So people can go there. They can learn more about the vehicle that's being built to honor John Zachary DeLorean.
That is correct.
Yeah, and I will say it is an absolutely beautiful car that's there. Okay, we do need to pull over, but want to mention that if you want to ask Kat, you'll have one more opportunity here to ask Kat, or for the show, during the show, you can ask Kat DeLorean or Jason Seymour a question about the DeLorean or anything else that you want to ask them about. And you have that opportunity. Those in attendance that can walk up, and Jim Pate will hand them a microphone, or you can call 800-224-9090. We'll be right back. And we are back with you with the C&C Auto Show. We are live on remote at the C&C Automotive location, 4014 Washington Road. We are here at DeLorean Day. We have roughly 65, 70 vehicles out there on display, including a lot of cars that were in part designed by John Z. DeLorean. And we also have some actual DMC-12 DeLoreans here. And get this, we have Kat DeLorean here with us. She's answering questions, and I mentioned before, she is just so passionate about what she talks about. And the stories are just, wow. I could just sit there and listen to them all day. It's amazing, which we spent a lot of time together yesterday at having lunch and just sitting around talking, and it was just a great time. Jason Seymour there with us and answering questions, and he's very passionate about the many things that he's doing, including having to do with training training people in tech schools or different schools.
High school students. We're focusing on the high school students. Now, we're looking long term at something for adults, but for right now, our main focus is on the engineering program for our high school students. It's a 4-year program. And Kat, you want to give a little information about that?
Yes. So it would be it will be a vocational program in public high schools that would give students the opportunity to engineer and manufacture a car. And we're working on it. It would start. It's 4 years, but most vocational programs are 2. So those first 2 years are actually focused on getting students to understand how to connect all the information that they get around the world. So it's a little bit lighter. We have them understanding how they can gain information about how to build a car from each one of their classes. So let's talk about how World War II impacted the automotive industry and give them some really interesting challenges. How does sociology help you understand your customer to better design a car? We want them to understand that. And then in the last 2 years, we're going to get them really hands-on. We have partnerships with different manufacturing facilities that will allow us to mentor our students and teach them hands-on. And the goal is not just to provide opportunity to students, but to help rebuild Detroit and to help expand options for manufacturing into areas where they need more work. So we really want to bring hope and passion and careers that people can thrive. You can work a 24-hour day, and if you're doing it at something you love, then you're going to be refreshed and not burnt out. It's going to invigorate you. So we want people to be working at jobs that aren't work. And that's what the program's all about, starting with automotive engineering, and we hope to, again, expand beyond that.
Yep.
And that passion is what is what built America.
Yes, yes. And also, again, so, 50% of kids today, that statistic is staggering to me. And so we've spent a lot of time talking to that next generation. And I ask them, why? And if you examine their life today, it makes sense. Back when I was a kid, in order to see my friends or to visit them, I had to get on the phone or drive to them. Today, their friends are right there on their screen in front of them. They don't have to leave.
And we're talking about kids.
Yes, hello.
I think we have somebody that has a question. This is great.
This is Lucas. He has a question. Here we go.
Are y'all making a new vehicle for DeLorean?
Yes. Yes, we're making, for DeLorean Next Generation, we're making a model JZD.
I've been trying to find some news on YouTube about a new DeLorean futuristic truck, and it looks really good. So it kind of looks like the Cybertruck for Tesla, but better in every way. And I actually am wanting to be a robotics engineer and make something that can change the future of cars that can turn into robots. Which is another way to say Transformers, but
Yes, it is.
I'm trying to make it so where these things can help people and protect humans from anything bad that can happen. So I'm thinking of ideas for a robot that can turn into the original DeLorean, and I'm thinking that might help. And I'm just trying to see if, in the future, I could try to make it, hover like an actual hovering car. And then, so you can, travel into the past and stuff. And so, you could get in the car, you can talk to it, and a whole bunch of other stuff that would be really cool for the future.
I love this. And don't go away. When we're done here, he'll give you an email, and then we can put you with some people.
Okay.
That can help you start to learn how you can achieve all of these goals.
And I'm absolutely on board with you on building this robot. And one of the things that I wanted to do with the JZD was to put a Jarvis system. I don't know if you know who Jarvis is. He was an Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I'm completely on board with what you want to do. That's kind of what I want to do as well. And we're definitely putting this program, the engineering program, together for kids like you because you've got that passion. And you're already starting to think about what you can do and how you can help people. And that's amazing. So we're really looking forward to putting together a program that will help you.
And we do want your input. We would love to have you help us design our transformative car. Robot.
And I'm thinking of a name for him. Gigawatt. It sounds like a good name for this robot.
I love this!
Because it sounds like a robotics engineer / car that transforms into a DeLorean.
You see? I love
It's
this.
a good name for a robot. Especially if it had goggles, like what a robotics engineer would have.
Do you think it'd be stainless steel?
Lucas, tell us your last name.
Loungeway.
I don't think that we've heard the last of that name.
No.
No. Bella's brother, and I don't think that we have heard the last of him. He's going to do some neat stuff.
I have.
Yeah, so save this video, everybody.
Yes.
I have a bright future ahead of me.
Yes, you do. A very bright future.
Stick with it.
Yes.
All right, so stick around. They want to talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
That was Lucas.
Oh, great questions. That was a great talk there. Oh.
That's amazing. Thank you so much
Kat,
for that.
if I'm not mistaken, I think I've seen a little tear in your eye there. That's something that you're really passionate about also, is that right? Yeah. That's the first time since you've been here that you hadn't been able to have words for everything that's come up. You're
Speechless. No, because that's what it's about. Because those ideas, yeah, that's what it's about. And look at how brilliant he is already. And we want to give him all of the tools and all of the resources to be able to achieve that dream.
Wow.
Kids today have access to all of the world's knowledge in their pocket. There's so much potential, and all they need is the opportunity. Everyone should have the same opportunity to live their dream, no matter where they were born or who they were born to. So our goal is to make sure that everyone has that.
Wow. Kat, any last words you want to say?
I want to thank everybody who has kept this dream alive all these years, all of the people who have cared for all of these vehicles that we see out here. That's what it's about for me. It's about these people and the people who have kept this dream alive and cared for these cars and loved my father and given back to me more than I could ever explain. So I want to say thank you. And thank you to you as well. This has been a truly wonderful experience.
We thank you and Jason both being here.
Thank you so much. We very much appreciate it.
Okay. Well, wow. Okay, come on down, C&C, the DeLorean Day, and we want to say thank you to O'Reilly Auto Parts and the Gas Car Club for all that they do to help. And we have had a great event, and everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.